BFreeCBD.com joins forces with Championship Wrestling to bring you the all-new Championship Wrestling podcast. And here's your host, Dustin Starr, featuring special guest,
BFree CBD,
founder of BFree CBD, Daryl Bird. Here we go!
Body aches gone, leg pain gone, back pain gone, relaxation on.
Happy Monday and welcome to episode 12 of the all-new Championship Wrestling podcast presented by BFree CBD. Thank you for joining me wherever you're socially distancing, whether it be at home, your office, or in a bomb shelter. I am Dustin Starr. If you have aches and pains, or if you're struggling with anxiety, I highly recommend CBD oils, bath bombs, and even flour, especially in today's trying times. BFreeCBD.com offers 20% off CBD every single day, along with lots of educational information regarding CBD. You can give them a follow at BFreeCBD. That's the letter B, Free CBD on social media. Go ahead and follow at CW30 Wrestling. And of course, I'm at Dustin Starr. The world continues to change as we know it, along with professional wrestling. It's actually a unique time in history in all facets of life. But let's get away from it all, even if it's just for a few moments, and let's talk some professional wrestling. Boy, was it good to be back last week. Grind City Wrestling on Thursday. It's always good to be there, but especially after being off a couple of weeks. E-Rock, Eric McMahon, Devin Walker, baby, and myself, we got all caught up on the latest in professional wrestling. You can go check that out at grindcitymedia.com/podcasts. One topic in particular that I'll start with was the brand new Dark Side of the Ring featuring Chris Benoit and the tragic story surrounding him and his family. And one of the things we talked about on the podcast that I wanted to relive right here is I wanted to ask everybody, do you remember what you were doing when the news broke about Chris Benoit? Because I'll never forget it. Myself and Eric, we were lifting at the gym. It was 24-hour fitness. We were lifting. I got the word, and boy, did it stop our workout. Go back and listen to that podcast. I go in a little more detail, but man, what a dark side of the ring it was. We also talked about WrestleMania. How could you not talk about WrestleMania right now? I personally am very excited to watch. I'm a big wrestling fan, always have been, always will be, plain and simple. And I think the WWE is going to give us something unique and something we've never seen before. And this will be like a WrestleMania moment you'll never forget. Kind of like Hulk Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant, or the Ultimate Warrior defeating Hulk Hogan at the Ultimate Challenge to win both championships. It'll be a WrestleMania without fans, so I think it's going to be something that we will remember forever and ever, and I hope it lives up to WrestleMania hype. We hope to be back this week for a full preview of WrestleMania and the lineup. Again, that's grindcitymedia.com/podcast. Drops Thursdays. Hopefully we're back this week. Quick update on our birthday bash. Just like many other sports, we don't know anything new. I hate it, but we don't have any new information. But I will tell you, man, there was a lot of time and effort put into every single piece of that event, whether it was graphics. I know my Maria spent hours upon hours putting together the graphics for that event. And then, of course, all the commercial work that we put into it as well, editing and creating those commercials, and many of which didn't even get a chance to air. Just like promos. Man, we had Marco Stunt cutting promos. We had Mil Muertes cutting promos, and some of those didn't even hit air. So it's unfortunate, but we are looking to reschedule that. And I think everybody's still super, super excited about what we will now call the belated birthday bash at AutoZone Park. And speaking of that, go to the Redbirds social media, Memphis Redbirds, and there's a poll up now where they're doing a kind of a March Madness bracket challenge, and Wrestling Night is on the theme bracket against Grizzlies night. So head on over there and vote wrestling night. It's going to be hard to beat the Grizzlies. Gosh, I love them both. But I'm always pulling for professional wrestling. Also, there's been a lot of questions coming in regarding the content of our upcoming television shows. With the news coming just yesterday from our president that everything will be shut down until at least April 30th. So the question is, how will we present new championship wrestling presented by Pro Shingle? And it's simple. We're going to have a brand new episode every single week. You can definitely count on that. Every Saturday at high noon on CW30 Memphis and on YouTube Premiere. Go check that out. If you're not listening to this podcast on YouTube, just type in at CW30 Wrestling. We have over 50 episodes in the archives. We will have new programming, whether it's with an audience, without an audience. But myself and my Maria will bring you some good stuff each and every week. I promise you that. I also ask you, what have you been doing with your extra time? We all have so much time on our hands. What are you doing? And I'll tell you what I've been doing. Finally, I have a gym set up at the house. Big shout out to Jason, Mac, and Tammy for letting me borrow some equipment. Oh man, it had been the longest time since I was 15 years old that I went without lifting weights. It's like torture. Since I was 15 years old, I've lifted, gosh, man, at least 5 times a week. 5 times a week. And then I went about 2.5 weeks with just doing push-ups and calisthenics and, of course, getting my cardio, sometimes even twice a day, just trying to stay in shape. But now I have the weights at the house, and man, I'm as thankful as ever. It's like my quality of life has gone up tremendously. And for the first time ever, man, I'm proud to lift weights with my 11-year-old son, Brady. And he's into it too, man. Of course, we're taking it easy because he's young. No heavy weights or any crazy workouts. It's all basic, simple stuff. But he's getting it in. He wants to get stronger so he can continue to play basketball and work on his shot. He needs to be a little bit stronger so he could put those three-pointers up and get his form a little better. Also, we've been playing a lot of Fortnite. I know I talked about video games last week, Donkey Kong Country and the original Nintendo and all that kind of stuff, but I'm back on the Fortnite bandwagon, and yesterday alone, we had 2 wins. 2 wins in a single day. It was awesome. And also, I placed second 4 times. So on PlayStation 4, I'm D, the number 5, and then STARR, so you can look me up on that. And also, I opened up a Twitch account. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week, but it's Dustin Starr with 2 R's, Dustin Starr, on Twitch. I haven't live streamed anything just yet. I'm getting my practice in, and as soon as I get up to par, you might see a little bit of live streaming there very soon. And, of course, been binge watching television programs like it's going out of business. I don't think I've ever watched so much television in my entire life. But believe it or not, I watched Tough Enough Season 1 and Tough Enough Season 2. And then I had to go back and look them up on Google. Where are they now? And see where all these people were. And you see some superstars that you see every day now. Very, very cool. Watching the Tough Enough Season 1, Season 2, and I just started on Season 3. And of course, the craze right now going on with the Tiger King. Oh my gosh, if you have not seen it, you must be 18 years or older. But if you haven't seen it, you've got to check it out. The hype is real. Tiger King. And then after I finished binge watching that entire thing with my Maria, of course, it starts coming out on social media that Tiger King, they used to run wrestling shows at the zoo. And I think Bateman actually wrestled on one of these programs where Joe Exotic, or whatever his name is, actually did some commentary or something on one of his matches. It was incredible. But I don't know about the Tiger King. I'd never get in a cage with a tiger or anything like that. I think I'm more like the Puppy King because our puppies, Bruno, Daphne, and Winston, are always laying all over me while we're watching these shows. So, also, last but not least, sending much love to all of our friends, fans, and everybody in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Oh my gosh, when the news hit and those videos on social media hit, I was reaching out to everybody I knew. Shout out to Breezy, reached out to her. I know she's in the area. Brian Tremell, awesome podcaster, longtime friend. He was taking a nap through it. Brandon Baxter, safe. He, of course, was in the radio studio covering the event, was in touch with Derek King. He used to live out in that area, but he has so many friends and family out there. Of course, Craig, who runs shows in Jonesboro. So our thoughts and prayers are going out to everybody in Jones Boogie, one of the very best wrestling towns and one of our absolute favorites. All right, let's get on with the program and let's check in real quick with our friends at BFree CBD. They got a new location opening up very soon right here in Memphis, Tennessee. And Daryl wants to take just a second to quickly tell you about these amazing CBD bath bombs. Check this out.
All right, so this is one of our more popular items. This is the Muscle and Joint Relief Bath Bomb. If you look at it, it is lavender, mint, just a variety of herbs in there that are amazingly beneficial and healing for your body. And we always recommend to use this after you are active, if you're still trying to be active as I am, and you're running and you're exercising and things of that nature. This is amazing for your joints and your muscles. If you need relief, this is the bath bomb to buy from BFree CBD. Check it out. All right, so you can see it begin to infuse. There's a variety of everything being released, and it's very therapeutic. So if you're needing a good relaxing bath and you've never tried a bath bomb before, especially a CBD bath bomb, man, they are amazing. The fizz is incredible. The spices are incredible. The herbs in there is just incredible. Oh, it's like a milk bath. All right, getting ready to relax a little bit.
The Championship Wrestling Rewind is brought to you by BFree CBD.
It's incredible that you can actually hear the fizz from those amazing BFree CBD bath bombs, and they are every bit of the hype that Daryl says. They're awesome. But part 3 of the PP3 blockbuster, the PP3 finale, was last Saturday on Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle. Boy, did we have a chat room full of great wrestling fans. Plus, we had our lead play-by-play broadcaster, Todd Kinley, TK, and the return of Danny Limelight Rivera. He was in the chat room. And of course, the Neon phenomenon, Anthony Idol, joined us as well. They were all giving insight on their matches and just what they thought of the program. And boy, the fans really do love interacting with the wrestlers when they come on. So thank you guys for that. You never know who's going to join us for the live chat. And that's on YouTube at CW30 Wrestling every Saturday at noon. Pinks and Fidel Bravo were back. And they squared off against a debuting tag team, 4 Minutes of Heat. Gosh, this was an excellent tag team match. Very exciting and fast-paced. And the fans were really into it inside the studio as well. And after that match, David Marquez was standing by with a pretty upset Fidel and Pinks. Check this out.
You might have forgotten about us, but we have not forgotten about you. You better recognize that it's time to respect. Palabra, all eyes on us.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Pinks, Fidel, Bravo. These men want respect and they mean it.
Up next, Danny Limelight Rivera was back from his injury that put him out of the PP3 tournament that he qualified for. It was a mysterious attack that we don't know who did it. Danny doesn't know who did it, but we know he's back and he says he's 100%. He was in the chat giving us all the insight. He went head-to-head with the man that snaps, Steven Tresario. It was another great matchup. I I think it might have been the match of the week. But once it was all said and done, once again, David Marquez was standing by, and Danny Limelight Rivera had this to say.
And all I could think about is that when I was sitting on the sideline, I didn't have money coming into my pocket. But more importantly, my daughter didn't have food coming into her mouth. So I take that very personal. So whoever it was that came after me, just know eventually, everything done in the dark comes to light. And you can bet, going forward, no one's gonna shine brighter than Danny Limelight.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Danny Rivera will be back.
And then it was main event time. It was the Champion Showcase. Man, I love this concept. Probably my favorite part of the show. Every champion at Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle in the same ring at the same time in the same match. And prior to the match, we did get some interesting comments from the United World Tag Team Champions Adrian Quest and Andy Brown as they not only interrupted, but they confronted the Heritage Champion Watts and the United TV Champion Dan Joseph.
You big and bad talking about Ray when he's not around, but we're here. And you ain't saying nothing now, right? Dan, ain't no one care about that title. That's the one we want. And that's the one we're going to get.
You want this?
Later on today.
You want it?
Later on today, I'm going to show you what a real ass whooping is like.
Dog, let's get this too.
The Champions Showcase Tag Team Main Event didn't disappoint. Dan Joseph actually picked up the victory with a big sunset flip out of the corner, but then they were viciously attacked by the team known as Static. I guess that's what they're calling themselves, and nobody likes the sound of static. But if you missed it, you have to go back and check it out. Ray Rosas came out. He was waiting in the weeds with the PP3 Cup urn. PP3 Cup is kind of like Money in the Bank. You can cash it in anytime, any place. And with the Heritage Champion down, and with the United TV Champion down, Ray Rosas acted as if he was going to cash it in, but then just sat down like, hey, who cares? It's driving me nuts. But anyways, what a show. If you missed it, go back and check it out on YouTube at CW30 Wrestling. It's episode 52, part 3 of the PP3 finale blockbuster. And then also, I want to remind you real quick that last week, I did an FCW watch-along of my time in the WWE developmental system in 2010. That was a lot of fun. But then I followed it up with a watch-along where myself and the wrestling fans on Facebook Live watched myself and my Maria versus Badass Billy Gunn. So I gave some insight and some fun stories about that. So if you missed it, go to my Facebook. That's Dustin, the number 5, Star on Facebook. So facebook.com/Dustin5Star, and you'll see it. I believe it's still pinned to the top. It was a lot of fun, a lot of great questions, and can't wait to do it again.
The Championship Wrestling Lookout is brought to you by BFree CBD.
Here's what you can look out for next week with the PP3 in our rearview mirror. It's time to celebrate our birthday. That's right, it's our birthday. And I know last week was episode 52, but we actually premiered on April 6th of 2019. And so this will be April 4th, 2020. So it's our 1-year anniversary, and that's when we're celebrating it this Saturday. And we've announced 2 huge matches. Check this out. So you remember Levi Shapiro winning the #1 contendership for United TV Championship? Well, Levi's going to get his chance this Saturday on Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle. Dan Joseph defends his United TV title against Levi Shapiro with Howdy Price in his corner. So it's put up or shut up time for Howdy Price. And get this main event. 6-man tag team main event where the team that's calling themselves Static, which is the Arizona State Champion and the PP3 Percy's Privilege Cup bearer, Ray Rosas. The 3 of them are going to square off against the undefeated Wolf Zaddies, Che Cabrera and Bad Dude Tito, along with the neon phenomenon, Anthony Idol. So Anthony Idol gets his hands on Ray Rosas again, and if you missed the PP3 Cup Finals, that's PP3 Part 2, I believe episode 51. I said it last week and I'll say it again this week. I have never ever seen a finish like that, and I can't wait not only to get my hands on Ray Rosas, but I can't wait to see Anthony Idol finally extract a little bit of revenge. But it's going to be Static, which is Adrian Quest, Andy Brown, the United World Tag Team Champions, along with Ray Rosas, the PP3 Cup bearer and Arizona State Champion. Gosh, I hate putting those guys over. They're going to go against the undefeated Wolf Zaddies and Anthony Idol. Don't miss it. It's Saturday at noon on CW30 Memphis and YouTube Premiere.
It's time for this week's Mailbag. Mailbag.
Thanks a lot, T-Bone. You know, this is my favorite segment of the show each and every week, where I get to answer your questions in the mailbag. And many of these questions come from my Instagram story at Dustin Starr. And first question, least favorite exercise that you still make yourself do? Oh my gosh, I absolutely hate pull-ups. I hate training back, but especially pull-ups. I think I hate training back just because I hate pull-ups so much. I hate pull-ups, but you know what I did? My boy Jay Mac let me borrow his pull-up bar. It was all dusty and stuff. You know he hadn't been using it. And I almost said, no thanks, I don't want it. But then I thought, you have to do the things that you don't like to do sometimes in order to get results that you want to get. You know how they say you do the things that others don't do in order to get things that others don't get? Well, pull-ups is that for me, so I'm actually looking at my pull-up bar hanging from the doorway right now, and I'm dreading back day next week. Next question, favorite Memphis Grizzlies game this year? Oh man, that's real easy. It was on February 29th, Leap Day. How about that? Against the Lakers, and not only did we beat them, we blew them out. It wasn't even close. And one of my favorite things is watching Lakers fans at FedEx Forum leave early with their heads hung low. I love it. Call me morbid, but I love that. And especially when you see season ticket holders with their MVP badges around their neck, and they've got Lakers gear on. So I love it every time we beat the Lakers, especially on February 29th of this year. And I think it goes without saying, I miss every fan, every player, every staff member, every usher, everybody on my Grizzlies family. So much love to my Grizz fam. Next question was, what are your best lifts? Give me numbers. All right. I'm a 2-time Mr. Tennessee Men's Physique Champion. And that's a shoot. That's not a work. That's a shoot. And I know that that's not the numbers that this guy was asking for, but I'm not really a big heavy lifter. I don't keep track of my personal goals or personal lifts or whatever you want to call them. I'm just not into that, man. I lift for looks and not strength. So best numbers I can give you is I won the Mr. Tennessee Men's Physique Championship 2 times in a row. Next, cheat day. Man, it seems like there's a lot of fitness questions. I love it. Cheat day. What are you going to be eating? Oh, man, that's real simple. I love to body slam burgers, man. Tops Barbecue. If you haven't had a Tops Barbecue burger, you don't know what you're missing. Absolutely fantastic. I had a double cheeseburger from there last week. And then also Kooky Canuck. I love me some Kooky Canuck. Shout out to the Dankos. Love those guys. I usually get a 3-cheese burger, but then I get an extra patty on it. And they always look at me funny like, an extra patty? Are you serious? Heck yeah, I'm serious. I actually had that a couple of weeks ago. Looking forward to picking one up to go later this week. So Tops Barbecue and Kooky Canuck are what I'm having on my cheat day. Next question is a Mount Rushmore of announcers. Wow, this is fun. So last week I did the Mount Rushmore of entrances, ring entrances from wrestlers. So this one is the Mount Rushmore of announcers. In no particular order, Michael Buffer, Hands down, let's get ready to rumble. He made it famous. I don't even know if there was a ring announcer that was famous before him. He's one of the most famous ring announcers of all time. Michael Buffer definitely makes the list. Bruce Buffer, his brother from UFC. You talk about a passionate, just aggressive, and me being a ring announcer for MMA, I'd do my very best not to mimic or copy him in any way, but gosh, he's so good and so passionate and just, he brings it, just like his brother Michael Buffer. I have to mention Howard Finkel, the Fink, the voice, as far as ring announcers go, of my childhood and of the WWE. Howard Finkel's on there. And then, of course, my buddy Justin Roberts, who I think is the very best in the business today and might be one of the greatest, probably the greatest of all time. I mean, his voice is fantastic. So my Mount Rushmore of ring announcers is Michael Buffer, Bruce Buffer, Howard Finkel, and Justin Roberts. Or should I say, Justin Roberts! So after I answered that question online, guy responded and said he meant broadcasters. So I'll go ahead and give that too. Mount Rushmore of wrestling broadcasters. I'm going to go Lance Russell, who I watched Lance growing up, had the amazing he was just so good. He was so real, but I was very fortunate for him to actually call one of my matches. And then we became friends later on in life, did several interviews together and things like that. So Lance Russell's on my list. Not because I'm biased, but because he is one of the greatest of all time. Jim Ross, good old JR. He's got to be on everybody's list. And I don't even have to tell you why. He's one of the best. I'm going to go Bobby the Brain Heenan. Bobby Heenan was so funny no matter who he was working with. It was hilarious. He was so good. Whether it was WCW, WWE, it didn't matter. Bobby Heenan's on the list. And of course, Tony Schiavone. I am the biggest Tony Schiavone fan, and shout out to Conrad Thompson for bringing Tony Schiavone's love of professional wrestling back, and now we get to hear him each and every week on AEW Dynamite. So my Mount Rushmore of broadcasters in wrestling is Lance Russell, Jim Ross, Bobby Heenan, and Tony Schiavone. I'd like to know yours. Hit me up at Dustin Starr. Next question, who are your top 5-star referees of all time? So instead of giving you 5, why don't I just do a Mount Rushmore of wrestling referees? And again, in no particular order, I'm going to say referee Jerry Calhoun. Not because he's Memphis, but because he refereed some of the most legendary matches in the history of our business at Mid-South Coliseum, you name it. Jerry Calhoun is on my list. How about Pee Wee Anderson from WCW? Randy Anderson, who's passed away now, but I always liked Randy Anderson. I remember when Lex Luger put Hulk Hogan in the human torture rack, and Hogan submitted. He puts his hands in his hair on his head like, oh my gosh, and he looks and he says, ring the bell, like he couldn't believe that he gave up. So I'm going to go Randy Anderson. John Cone, who is still a referee in WWE today. For some reason, I was just always a fan of his. Actually, when I was a referee in WWE, I thought that I would have a similar look as John Cone. Dark hair, kind of a lean guy in shape and stuff. So John Cone, big fan of his, and he's been in some of the most legendary matches of all time. And then I'm going to go with Lil Nate, Charles Robinson, for obvious reasons. WCW and WWE, the guy did so much. He's still there today. So my Mount Rushmore of wrestling referees would have to be Jerry Calhoun, Randy Anderson, John Cone, and Charles Robinson. What, you guys think I'm leaving out the Hebners? Just believe it or not, this is my hot take, my unpopular hot take. I'm not a fan. Sorry. Next question, it's another fitness question. Would you ever become a personal trainer? Actually, I've trained several guys. I trained 2 guys to compete in men's physique. They both placed very, very well. One even won his division. I've helped with meal plans and such. It's not a career that I'd like to have full time. I don't know, but definitely am open to doing meal plans and helping guys out. So would I ever become a personal trainer? I have been, but not full time. All right, who would you love to face in the ring from AEW? That one is just super easy. Cody and Brandy. Power couple versus power couple. Myself and my Maria squaring off against Cody and Brandy. I can only imagine Maria trying to take Brandy to Slap City. And also, Cody is so good in the ring. And if you watch him with some of these guys, he gives them a lot. So he didn't go in there and just eat them up. Like, in my personal opinion, Cody versus Jimmy Havoc last week, I would think Cody would win hands down, no problem. And it's no disrespect to Jimmy Havoc. I just hold Cody in such high regard. But, man, he sold for Jimmy Havoc. He sells for everybody. So, hands down, top of the line, I'd go with Cody and Brandy. Also, while I'm here, I might as well say that hashtag search for Spears. I still haven't gotten the phone call from Sean Spears, and I will say it again. 2 5-star athletes equal a perfect 10. And who needs Baby Doll when you got My Maria? Just saying. Also, last question. How would you fare in the new Performance Center? Now, this question was piggybacked off of my FCW talk where it was just a little bit of a different culture and different things going on in FCW. You'd have to go back and listen to my interview with Brian Trammell. You can go www.stspod.club. I go into detail about my time at FCW and the WWE developmental system where I was a referee. But it says, how would you fare in the new Performance Center? And I think I'd fare extremely well. Things have changed. The way that they hire people and the way they use people has completely changed. I think I would absolutely thrive in the Performance Center. And I'm not talking necessarily inside the squared circle wrestling, because I don't think that my future is the physicality of professional wrestling. I think that I am transitioning outside of the ring in more of a speaking role instead of a professional wrestling role. But I think I'd do pretty good in the Performance Center. But thanks to everybody who sent their questions. This is my absolute favorite part of every podcast, is answering questions that you guys want to hear about. And if you have a question for me, I'll answer it on the next podcast. Just hit me up on all forms of social media, whichever one's your favorite, at Dustin Starr.
Thanks for listening to the Championship Wrestling Podcast presented by BFreeCBD.com.
Man, I absolutely love this song. Love it. Thanks for joining us. Like T-Bone said, be sure to check out BFreeCBD.com. That's the letter B, FreeCBD.com. They're offering 20% off every single day. And if you already take CBD, or if you've been thinking about trying it, certainly try BFree CBD. Remember those bath bombs. Oh man, they are great. Also, if you like them on Facebook, you have a chance to win some free BFree CBD. And we're going to catch you again here next week on the Championship Wrestling Podcast presented by BFree CBD. And once again, I'm going to leave you with this special message from myself, my Maria, Championship Wrestling, and CW30 Memphis. And until next week, I am Dustin Starr, saying so long, everybody.
COVID-19 is spreading, but here are some tips you can do to protect yourself.
Wash your hands often.
Keep a social distance of at least 3 feet.
Cough into your elbow.
Your face, don't touch it.
And of course, if you feel sick, stay home. Let's all do our part to flatten the curve.